I'm going to go live for a little bit and answer your tennis questions. Let's first start out with some tips that are going to help you with your serve. Number one being, I want you to, in order to help you use a better grip, I want you to start with your racket face open. This is a tip that completely changes the way people approach their serve. Because when we begin serving, right, when we begin playing tennis, what we end up doing is serving and bouncing the ball with our racket. So most beginners, most kids, they begin serving and they bounce the ball with their racket. But, hey, what's up? What's up, Stephen Jacob? I am live. I'm going to be live here, maybe a half an hour or so. In order to promote you using the true continental grip, which is the knuckle and the heel pad on the second panel, right? This is panel number 2 right here. You like this old ratty grip. I push start here on the live and I realize my good racket is in the garage, which is so funny. But that's okay. We'll work with this. But in order to use the proper continental grip, it's kind of weird for people who are used to bouncing the ball with their racket. For players who bounce the ball with their racket at the beginning and they go into the waiter's tray, you tell them to use a continental grip, but then their brain is used to having the strings facing down, so bouncing the ball. So 2 actual tips here is don't bounce the ball with your hand, with your racket at the beginning of the serve. Only bounce it with your hand. And the second thing is if you are someone who struggles using the continental grip, or maybe you swear that you start with it, but you change the grip throughout the stroke, one thing you can do is just start with your racket face open. So if you're a coach and you are currently helping students transition from a semi-Western or Eastern grip over to a continental, talk to them about the change in the racket, not just the change in the hand. Because when you are making a grip change on the serve, what you are not doing is turning the hand. What you're doing is changing the racket and then grabbing on. So I tell my students who struggle with their grip, I just tell them to open up the racket and then grab on. And the chances of using the continental grip go way, way up. Let's see what we got here. Good morning. What's up, Kenneth? Hello, British Columbia. Thank you so much. What's up, Chris Reed? Good afternoon. We got good morning. We got good afternoon. All right, we just need someone to say good night. Here's the next idea. When you bring your racket up, please stay away from trying to get into immediately a trophy position. When you toss the ball and you bring your racket up and your racket gets vertical very early, one, it leads to going palm up. So players who try to get the racket vertical, they go palm up right away. If they're not, if they haven't practiced it so much that they can resist that. But another thing that it does is it hurts your ability to have a lot of racket speed. Do you guys know what the number 1 power source is on the serve? What's the number 1 power source on the serve? We'll see what people have to say. And this ties in. What's the number 1 power source on the serve? I'm not saying a power source. I'm saying you take this power source away and it will do more to damage the speed of your serve. Good night. I work nights. That's good. The birthday hat motion, the wrist. Yeah. What's the number 1 power source? The snap. So the number 1 power source is the elbow making this move. That move right there. The number 1 power source is the elbow going like this. That's number 1. You take that away, you don't have a service motion. Well, if you look how I have positioned my arm, see where my elbow is? How the elbow's back behind me? You won't do that with your elbow back if you're trying to get your racket into this position. See where my elbow is? So instead of thinking of lifting the racket up and having the racket very vertical, try lifting the racket up and having your elbow back, but having the racket horizontal. Be able, when you toss the ball, to, when you lift the racket, have a ball in the throat. If you have a racket, you can demonstrate with me right now. Try tossing the ball and just lifting your arm and racket, but having it perfectly level. what that does is it has the elbow back behind you. And then that's a farther distance for your elbow to have to travel. And we know that the definition of, I just clicked the like button. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Please hit the like. We got 45 people here and 7 likes. I wonder how many dislikes I have. What do I have? 38 dislikes? So please hit that like button if you're liking this. So when you lift your racket up, the goal is to have a far distance that your elbow has to travel, because the definition of speed is distance over time. So when you have a far distance or farther distance that your elbow has to travel, especially when you can reduce the amount of time, thanks for the likes, I appreciate it, especially if we can reduce the amount of time we have by tossing slightly lower, now we have little time to travel a far distance. Because speed on the serve isn't just the technique that you use, it's also creating the environment where speed is the solution. If you wanted someone to drive really fast to work, you would tell them to leave late. Because when they are late, they have to drive fast in order to make up time. So the goal isn't just the technique, it's also the timing and the environment where speed is necessary. So one tip is start your serve with your racket face open. So just take your racket, open it, maybe 30 degrees, and then grab on. The chances of using a continental grip go way up. So don't start with your strings facing down. You'll just use a forehand grip. Second, when you lift your racket horizontally. Don't lift your racket trying to get into the trophy position. The trophy position, I think, is such an over-taught idea. And coaches put the trophy position on a pedestal without truly, I think, understanding the ramifications of what happens by skipping this part. This is what happens before you get to here. See, I get into the trophy position on my serve, but I make sure I get into this position first. Then you can see, look, I got to here. I'm going to be traveling much faster doing this than I will just immediately getting into this position, because now I have a shorter distance to go to get my elbow to come forward. So lift your racket up. And the last thing, here's a tip that is so important. You don't see it by every pro, but like let's take JJ Wolf is a great example. Leylah Fernandez is a great example of this. When you're done on your serve, cross your arms. Have this position. Nadal does this perfectly. Nadal's serve is underrated technically. Nadal could definitely use more of an elbow back position. His elbow, when he brings his racket up, his elbow is very much in line with his body, and it would be better if he was back here. He would definitely get more pop on his serve. Hopefully he continues to play based on his hip. But was it his hip? I think it's his hip. The elbow back move is something that would really benefit him. But you're going to get into the trophy position by getting to here. But once you make that move, then we have to get into this power X position. You know, when you serve, it's not in your best interest to just rotate as you're serving. What you want to do is rotate before you hit and then stop your body's rotation, and then that accelerates the hitting arm. You want a very quiet body as you're hitting the ball. And I always have people say, yeah, but what about Andy Roddick? And well, have you ever looked at Roddick's serve in slow motion? When Roddick is making contact, his hitting arm is like this. He's not throwing the arm behind him. He's hitting, stopping the body's rotation. Then after he hits, then this arm goes back. So there's no benefit to the arm going back. You don't have to worry about balance. You don't have to worry about uncoiling on the serve. It's not necessary. You want to actually finish with your arms crossed. This is how I would ask you to finish your serves. If you're someone who brings your tossing arm down way too early, try this. Try crossing, and I'm going to kneel to show you this. Try crossing your wrists up here. Try keeping your tossing arm up for so long that you swear as you pronate, you're crossing your wrists like you're handcuffed. Then bring them down. That will force the tossing arm up to stay up longer, and then you can bring them down. So 3 tips on the serve. Start with your racket face open. Learn to bring the racket up horizontally, not vertically, which just leads to the waiter's tray anyway. Lift your racket like this, and of course hit the birthday hat, but cross your wrists or cross your arms when you're done serving, and you'll hit much faster. Let's see. I strongly feel Topspin Pro heavily disrupts my shots. Do you mean, can you take off the shields? What's the disadvantage? What's the disadvantages of Topspin Pro? Take off the shields, and I don't think there is a disadvantage. I mean, there's a disadvantage in everything. There's a disadvantage in ball machines because the ball machine doesn't move. There's a disadvantage against a wall. Yeah, even without the flaps. I'm not sure. It disrupts your swing. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you explain what your definition of disrupts means? I know what the word disrupt means. I'm trying to ask what your definition of it is. Like, give me a very clear-cut example. Let's see here. Have you used Swing Vision? Yeah, I just used Swing Vision today, Stephen. I gave a lesson to a guy. So I do strategy lessons, and I just had a lesson with a guy in Chicago. I'm near Philadelphia. So I just had a lesson with him at 10 o'clock this morning. He sent me Swing Vision footage, and I reviewed it, and I met with him for an hour, and we looked at his court positioning and his shot selection and his technique. We looked at his footwork and his overall tactics and strategies, his aiming. Can you demonstrate the proper body movement and swing for attacking a short ball that you're going to catch at about chest, shoulder height? Yeah, absolutely. So the number one reason, Chris, players struggle hitting, hello from England, hello, with the high ball is they get too close to the ball. So that's the first thing to understand. If you are someone who struggles with high, short balls, first know that it might be because you're getting too close. If you think of it this way, your arm is the radius of a circle, right? So as you lift your arm, your hand gets farther from you. The ball that you play at head level is the ball that you will play farthest away from you. So notice as I raise my racket gets farther away from me. So you get a short ball, do not run right at the ball because you'll get jammed. Almost everybody complains of getting jammed on high balls. If the ball's right here, then move over here so that you can extend your arm. So most players will improve their high, weak ball. And thanks for hitting the like button. We got 45 people here and only 22 likes. So please be sure to hit that like button. It definitely helps me in the channel and bring more people in. So thank you. Just that tip of knowing to stand farther away from the ball can make a huge difference in your ability to handle that. Another thing that can help you is to know that you need to turn higher than you normally do. Thanks for hitting the like button, everyone. So the height of your turn is very much predicated on the height of the contact. And Djokovic does this all the time on his backhand. A really low ball comes to his backhand and he'll turn down here. But then there's a higher ball to his backhand and he turns up here. So you can almost know the height of the contact just by the height of the turn. So let me use my daughter's racket here. When a ball comes to you and it's going to be high, turn higher than you normally do. We've already moved farther away from the ball, but now we're going to turn higher than we normally do. From here, do not drop a tremendous amount below contact. We want to stay up with the ball. We are going to get slightly below contact and we are going to go slightly low to high, but it's going to be very gradual low to high, not severely low to high. It's very much through the ball and a little bit low to high. But here's another thing. Because players tend to be so close to the ball with these, they tend to swing down and across. I want you to stand farther than normal, turn higher than you normally do, and swing up and out and still finish high. Do not swing down when you hit the ball. And the last thing I would say is you have to really feel like when the ball leaves your racket that it's going forward. Don't hit the ball down. Don't hit the ball up. Definitely don't hit the ball up if it's a weak ball and it's bringing you in. But those three tips, stand farther, like much more left if you're right-handed. Stand much farther away. Turn much higher than you normally do. Have this left hand up if you're right-handed. Have this non-hitting hand up and still finish up and through, driving that ball forward. Instantly, you're going to improve on that shot. So you've got to have trouble going down the line. A single-handed backhand, is it more of a wrist issue or general timing of the swing? Love from Canada. You got it, Chris. Trouble going down the line on a single-handed backhand. Oh man, you're speaking my language here. So RSS, raw. I want you to finish in what is called the left side of the letter V. So if you are, that's if you're right-handed. If you're right-handed, finish in this position right here. Finish with the racket. It's like a letter V. So see, it's a letter V, right? I want you to have the left side if you're right-handed. So it's going to be this. If you're a lefty, it looks like this. And the racket is to the side of your hand. Meaning when you're done, your strings face up. You were talking about the wrist angle, Raw. When you contact the ball, there is supposed to be an angle between your arm and racket. And that angle stays intact when you keep the left side of the letter V. And it helps you to drastically improve your down the line shots, down the line passing shots, return of serve, when you're hitting on the rise, anytime somebody hits the ball really deep and fast and you need more control over the shot. So don't let your wrist wiggle on that down the line ball, but just finish and your body goes, stays sideways, your arms go apart and the racket's gonna stay to the inside. It shouldn't be flat, but don't let it go straight up and down either. Think like 45-degree angle. Left side of the letter V as a right-hander. It'll make you so consistent. The pros do that all the time. Why are the backhands so flat? How to achieve a solid backhand with heavy spin? The grip of the left hand must be semi-western or eastern, reaching to semi-western. What's up, JP? Okay, so why are backhands so flat? So first off, it's not easy to do what gives you a ton of spin on the forehand. With only one hand on the racket and the elasticity that can create, a lot of pros will very much have the racket go from below their hand to above their hand. It is not easy with two hands to make that move. You have to be really forceful with it. And so it tends to be more of a shot that you go more through the ball. It's just anatomically the way that our elbow bends. The fact on the forehand, we can really unwind the body prior to the swing coming through, which you cannot do on a backhand. You can't swing the body through before the racket because the lead shoulder is on. And that's okay. It's okay to have the backhand be a little flatter. I actually like it. Any advice in playing up? My friend and I played 2 4-0s. We are 3 5s. What should we be doing? Yeah, so look, you're never going to beat. Are you talking about doubles? I assume you're talking doubles. Who said that? Oh, Shelly. Hi, Shelly. I know you, Shelly. Look, you're a 3-5. You are not going to beat, let's say you're the red team, Shelly. You are not going to beat a team playing one up, one back. You want to win matches playing up, then play up. You have to figure out how to get it to be 2 against 1. 2 against 1. Because the baseliner has to hit to a volleyer, and then the volleyers hit to this player who doesn't have enough time. If you're playing one up, one back, then you're not going to win. One up, one back is the way to lose. Love from India. Thanks so much. Now, if you want to play both back, that's pretty good, Shelly. That's pretty good. But to be honest, you've got to be a wall, either both back playing ultimate defense or both up playing ultimate offense. Shelly, what was your score when you played the 4-0s? Thank you for the left side of the letter V reminder. I'll look to implement that tonight. Awesome. Dave, New Jersey, retracted his thing. Hello, the wrist comment valid for all strokes. Also cross court. You mean the left side of the letter V? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You lost 4-1. Yeah. Yep. One up, one down is loser strategy. Really? Mano John, I'm 0 for 2 with you at the moment. Yeah, the one up, one back is not a good strategy. It's great if you're playing a team one up, one back. If you're playing one up, one back, Mano John, and your opponents are playing one up, one back, then you both have loser strategy. So then it's like it's not even happening. And I don't mean loser strategy, like it's like so derogatory. It's not in your best interest. What you want to do is be like this. The best strategy you could have is both up against one up, one back. One up, one back. The reason one up, one back works is because everyone does one up, one back. So if everyone has a disadvantage, then nobody's at a disadvantage, right? So both up. If you can figure out in your matches how to get both up against one up, one back, the key to this though is when you play both up, you must both pick on the net person. Unless you have a low volley, because you don't want to pop it up to that player. But any ball above net level, you're going there. All right, let's see what this person has to say. Both up will invite lobs. Correct. I mean, tennis is hard. and I'll explain what you should do in that scenario. You said to not have it move too much. Was it mainly on the down the line shot? No, you can do that cross court as well. You can do that cross court as well. Okay, both up invites lobs. So we're talking about doubles, and we're talking about, and any questions, please ask. Let's see how our likes are going. All right, we got 38 likes with 57 people here. So that means some of you should be feeling pretty guilty right now that you haven't hit that like button. So if, let's say this person hits a lot of lobs. First off, lobs only happen from this person. So if you just pick on the net player, you'll never deal with lobs. So Manu John was saying, oh, coming up to the net is going to invite lobs from this person. Well, not if you don't hit it to them. So my point here being is you can sneak up and then just pick on the net person, and that the lobber will never lob. The second thing is if this person does hit a lot of lobs and you kind of have to like approach to them, then hang out with your toes on the service line. If you see your opponent with their toes on the service line, not their heels, not up here, toes on the service line, this person is not going to be tempted to lob. So at least you're going to get them out of a lob. And then maybe they try to hit it to your feet, but you hit a half volley, and then you hit it short. They have to come in. They have a low ball. They pop it up, and then you nail it. So there are things to do. It's not like, no one's ever thought about, oh, you're going to get lobbed when you go to the net. There are ways to combat that. But do you guys know, and gals, do you know what percentage of the points you'll lose? Like, what percentage of the points did Djokovic lose at the Australian Open? Do you know what percentage of the points he lost? I don't mean Australian, I just mean French. At Roland Garros, what percentage of the points did Novak lose? Oh, I wanted to show you something for the serve consistency. Someone asked about serve consistency, so I want to show you. Does anybody know? What percentage did Novak lose? He lost 48% of the points. If you sneak up, then should you target the net player on your approach shot? Hey, what's up, Nick? Always try to finish off a hard one on the at the net. Yes. Yeah, you're trying to hit high balls, any ball above net level. When you go to the net, you now pick on the other net person because they don't have enough time to react to your shot. But you have enough time because you're reacting to a baseliner. It's just how it works. You hit to the baseliner, you go in, now you have time to react to the baseliner, then you pick on the net person. Yeah, so Nick, when it comes to the going forward, if you have a really weak approach, let's say your opponent hits a really weak ball and you're coming up to the service line, because we talked about hitting and don't go back. When you come in, if you're around the service line and you can pound a forehand, just pick on the net person. What percentage? He did not lose 38% of the points at the Australian Open, at Roland Garros. My guess is that he lost 45%. When you basically dominate matches, you win 55% of the points. if he won 62% of the points, then he was winning every match 6-love, 6-1, 6-love. That's the score that occurs if you win 62% of the points. You're winning almost 2 out of 3 points. So that you're not going to lose a game. No, 55% is the very most, not the very least. I'm talking number of points, not number of games. Trust me. Guys, real quick, here's the question then. Manu John, we know that, how many French Opens does Nadal have? Is it 12? 13? He has 14? Oh, I totally forgot. Do you know what percentage of the points, thanks, Luciano. Do you know what percentage of the points Nadal has won over all those years? What's up, B-Man? What's up? How many, what percentage of the points of every single point that Nadal has played, Nadal at Roland Garros, what percentage of the points has he won that has turned into the most dominant, result of any Grand Slam by any player? What does he have? 3 losses total, I think. Do you guys know what percentage? Someone said 51. What percentage of the points has Nadal won at the French Open in all the points he has played? And the answer is 56. Whenever the pros dominate, Nadal has won 56% of the points he has played at the French Open. That's why he's so dominant. 100%. That's right, Jason. That's why he's so dominant. Because when you go from 55% and then you just win 1 extra point per 100, it turns into a ridiculous percentage of or like Grand Slams that you win. Somebody was talking about practicing serves and asking for consistency. Just do this drill. Hit some serves right from the net and put a target in the service box. And just put your racket up above your head like this. Put your racket up above like this. And then just toss the ball and hit. Racket up above your head, toss the ball and hit. How do I attend your coaching? I'll let you know in just a second. I'll tell you next. Hit maybe 10 serves from right here and hit the target. Then move back to the service line. 10 serves, hit the target. Move to no man's land. 10 serves, hit the target. Then move back here. 10 serves, hit the target. It's no different than in golf. When you're putting, you can stand really close to the hole and putt from a very short distance. Then move back and then putt from that distance. And just keep moving back and trying to learn the consistency and the, being able to feel the greens and the speed of the greens and the size of the swing and everything. It's the same thing. Just serve from here, then here, then here, then here. And then repeat, then do it again. Serve from here, then serve from here, serve from here, serve from here. And do 10 serves per spot. Rather than just serving from behind the line. If you're looking for consistency and your serve is not very accurate, just have your racket up here. Somebody asked about my coaching. Guys, I don't coach on court anymore. For 24 years, over 24 years, I coached at a tennis club outside Philadelphia. And I started teaching online. I started back in 2014. And then around 2017, 2018, things started picking up. And I started doing more video analysis and some Zoom lessons. Once the pandemic hit, though, that's when everything changed for me. And when Zoom lessons became a thing. And so now I teach live on Zoom. So you can go to 2MinuteTennis.net. If you want me to personally work with you to fix your serve, your forehand, your backhand, your net game, your match strategy. I just gave a lesson to a guy today in Chicago. You still doing the 2-minute tennis deal? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by the deal. So if you could, it depends on how long ago that was. I don't know what deal you're talking about. So with 2-minute tennis now, I do a ton of video lessons And one type is with strategy. So just today I had a lesson with a guy in Chicago. He sent me video of him playing on Swing Vision. I looked at it last night and this morning, just wrote all my notes down, and I screen recorded points. And then live on Zoom, I share my screen, because on Zoom you can share your screen and the person on the other side sees what you're seeing on your screen. I share my screen and he gets to see himself, and I'm drawing on the screen, I'm showing him. It's just like my YouTube videos, but it's you, like you're the student, and I'm showing you how to beat your opponent, where you should have been standing, where you should have aimed your shot, what type of shot you should have hit, the technique that you're using and how you can improve it, your footwork, all that stuff. So you can go to 2MinuteTennis.net and check that out. I also do a membership, a premium membership. My premium membership is either $40 a month or it's $3.99 for a year. I do a weekly class for premium members. It's actually every Wednesday night. If you can't make the class, no big deal. I always put the recording up on the website, 2MinuteTennis.net. And if you sign up for the monthly membership, you get one free Zoom private lesson with me, which is normally $130. And if you sign up for the yearly membership, you save $80 and you get 2 free Zoom private lessons, which is usually $260. And you get 52 group classes with me once a week, plus everything that I offer on my website, the mastery courses, the virtual camps, all that stuff is all part of the membership. So it's absolutely awesome. Oh, and when you're a member, you get half price Zoom lessons with me to begin with. So it's absolutely awesome. There it is. That's right. That's the deal. Let's see here. How can I record a game that's good enough for you to analyze it? Mattias, it's really simple. It's just, go on Amazon and just get something for your phone or GoPro that you can hook up onto your fence and just film yourself playing a set, and I'll analyze it. We'll meet live on Zoom. I see you. This isn't like YouTube where I can't see you. Zoom, I see you, you see me. I'm demonstrating. I'm asking you to demonstrate. You're not on court, by the way. Zoom lessons, like tennis courts, are a great place to practice, but they're awful for learning. They really are awful places to learn. That's why you have to take so many lessons. If you're going to go out and say, hey, I want to work on my serve with a coach, you're not taking one lesson and it's over. Like, you're going to have to take many lessons. And the reason is because the tennis court is such a bad place to learn, because you cannot, have you ever taken a lesson and they gave you way too much information and you walk away going, oh my gosh, my head's spinning, I can't remember all of it. With a Zoom lesson, you're at home. We're looking at video of your serve versus Kyrgios, or your serve versus Sakari, or your serve versus JJ Wolf or Federer. And you're writing notes down, and I'm showing you and teaching you everything that you need to do. The whole thing is recorded. I then send you the recording. So in one lesson, you'll get 10 in-person lessons worth of information in one Zoom lesson. And I give you all the drills that I want you to practice. They are just so much better than in-person lessons. Let's see what we got here. How can I hit heavier topspin? So there are a couple things that you have to make sure of. One, if you're hitting too flat, you're going to not get heavy topspin. And if you go too much up, you're not going to get heavy topspin as well. It's very much the angle at which you're swinging up and through, and it's also your ability to make the racket go from below your hand to above your hand. So you're going to have to experiment with how far below you drop compared to the ball. Because if you go too far below and you go up too much, sure, you'll get spin, but there's nothing heavy about it. Like, the ball has no pace, it has no weight to it. But another thing is you got to make sure that you are moving your racket from below your hand to above your hand, which does add spin, obviously. Yeah, comparing serves and the shots is the best trick. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Imagine you and I are talking for an hour and I've got your backhand compared to Djokovic, or your serve compared to Roger Federer, and or John Isner, and I'm taking you step by step. You're demonstrating in your house. Like, go to 2MinuteTennis.net, get a Zoom lesson. It'll be the best lesson you ever have. You described the importance of dominant eye being an important factor in the stroke or toss position. Talks about it often, but he's the only person I've heard it from. No, I think it's what you teach when you don't have anything else to teach. What grip do you recommend for a forehand? Like, think about this. If you have somebody with a heart attack, having a heart attack, God forbid, someone's having a heart attack, you wouldn't go, quick, fix his hangnail. He's got a hangnail. It's like he's got a freaking He's having a heart attack and you're worried about a hangnail. The idea that you are going to improve your technique or your forehand or your backhand by understanding eye dominance is absolutely ridiculous. And when there are such bigger issues, this idea of should you have your head like this or your head like this? I mean, when I drive a car, do I go like this as I'm driving or go like this? No, like you can just see. Like the idea that you have to have your head a certain way in order to see. Could you imagine driving and I'm looking out that window and I'm like, officer, this is my dominant eye. So I have to have my head tilted. And it's such ridiculousness that I'm sure there is something to dominant eye. Like, of course, my right eye is my dominant eye. And to get a dominant eye, all you do is go like this and just see which eye you're looking through. And you can see it's my right eye. Like, it's really simple. But the idea that that's the thing. And what's so funny, what's so funny about the dominant eye thing is it explains, or it tries to explain, why Federer has his head so much down on his forehand. Because they say he's cross-handed and eyed, that he's right-handed but left-eyed. It's like, okay, great. Well, then why does he keep his head down on the backhand? Shouldn't he have his head up on the backhand so that he can see out of his left eye? It's so ridiculous. You can see my demeanor just changed. Let's see here. All right, how to stay focused starting second set after winning first 6-love. We played state championship this weekend. Couldn't get it together second set, but won the third in the tiebreaker. Yeah, it's really, really simple because you paid attention to the score. You paid attention to the score. Everything was, oh, we got to win, we got to win, we got to win. You played the second set and you went, You cannot have any mental letdown. One thing you have to do is you have to know why you won or how you won the first set, 6-love. And it's not about 6-love. It's about any set. And congratulations, by the way, winning a match at States. Good job. So what occurs is oftentimes players don't know why they won the first set, so they don't have anything to focus on. So I would really pay attention to why you were winning. What was it? Like when the set is over, really think about, you have great acting talent, thanks. Really think about why you won so that you can actually focus on that rather than going, all right, high five, you're playing doubles. Yeah, we got this. All right, that was awesome. Can you believe we just won 6-love? And then you relax. So know why you won, know what helped you to win because you won for some reason. What was the reason? And if you know the reason, you can focus on doing that again. It's like a recipe. If you make an amazing banana bread, but you forget the recipe and you can't really keep track of it, the next time is probably going to be worse. But if you have a recipe and you have things that you can do, then you can just stay focused. If someone who hits a ball early, really high up with no spin, but yeah, essentially a pusher. Top 3 most important things to beat games at a beginner intermediate level. Yeah, I'll give you the most important one, which is have an air target. So you're playing, and the number one mistake, or I should say it this way, the number one error, is it Mattias? Let's see. How can I remain calmer during a longer rally? Volley is out of the air. Was that Mattias? Yeah. So just remember, volley is when you hit the ball out of the air. Rally is when the ball's bouncing. That's why it's called volleyball, because the ball's never bouncing. So, Mattias, number 1, hit higher over the net on average than your opponent. Hit higher over the net on average than your opponent. Do that. Because hitting the net is the most common error. You have to hit higher to hit deep. That pushes your opponent back. If I could just give you one piece of advice, it would be aim higher over the net than you normally do just on a basic rally. Now, if you want to take that a step further, alter the height you aim based on where you're standing. So as you move in, aim lower, and as you move back, aim higher over the net. So Mattias, I have a question for you. do you change the height over the net that you aim? Well, first off, do you aim over the net every time? Do you have in your mind an aiming point? And to that end, if the answer is yes, do you alter that height based on where you are on the court? It's a good idea to hit a drop shot when your opponent hits a short ball that lands the service line and you have to run towards the service box from the baseline, or is it better to hit an angle? No, drop shot. It's a great time to hit a drop shot. That's a great time. So you want to drop shot, and you want to lob a lob. Now, I know you didn't say that they hit a drop shot, but if they hit the ball short and you come in, that's a perfect time to hit a drop shot. Now, it's a shorter distance for that ball to travel, so it's less time for them to come up and get it. Plus, they're probably afraid that you might come in and just bang that ball, which is why you see the pros do this, change their grip, and then go for a drop shot. Not really, usually 1 meter above the net, really not much of a change. Sure, if the moon ball. Yeah, so Mattias, that's really, like, to be honest, and it sounds like you are understanding the aim, but most players do not aim over the net a certain height. They sort of have an idea of where they want the ball to land, but they almost have no idea how to get it there. The speed you hit the ball, plus the spin you put on the ball, plus the height the ball crosses over the net equals where the ball lands. Speed, spin, and height of your shot equals where the ball lands. So if you want to hit the ball deep, you've got to hit higher over the net typically. Now you can hit really low over the net and crush it 100 miles an hour, but you're going to make 1 out of 4. So that's not a good strategy. So I'm telling you, just hit the ball higher over the net. The second thing is, from a beginner and intermediate standpoint, is understanding like the 4 places you've really got to stand on the court. If your opponent's over here, stand slightly on this side. If your opponent's over here, stand slightly on this side. If you're at the net, so at the baseline, be on the opposite side of them. And when you're at the net, be on the same side as them. So if you volley over here, you got to move over. At the net, it's called mirroring. At the net, you mirror your opponent. At the baseline, I call it seesawing. Like, you know what, a seesaw where somebody sits here and somebody sits here and you go like this, and there's an anchor point there and it goes like this. At the baseline, this is why you watch the pros, they're always on opposite sides of the court from one another. And that's because they're trying to bisect where the opponent can hit the ball. So they're equidistant to both the cross court and down the line. Speed, spin, and height equals where the ball lands. You got it, Mano John. Have I made a video on how to hit a kick serve? Yes, guys, I've probably made 15 of them. Go here, you're already on YouTube. I'm used to going live on Instagram, so I always have to tell people to go to YouTube, but you're already here. Just in the search bar, type 2MinuteTennis, and then type in a subject, and you will see a video on it, or several. Correct. Opposite side. Any specific advice for clay court? I know really nothing about clay courts. I've played on clay maybe 20 times in my life. I've played on red clay twice. Clay is not my thing. Here's the thing. Don't think, I will tell you this, on clay, don't think that the points are super long. We have this in our mind, but when you look at the data, the points aren't any longer. They aren't. So don't think that points have to be longer and that you're just going to stand there and arc the ball back and forth over the net. It's not. Play your aggressive style. So I would just say, don't just sit there and just think that the match has to last 15 hours. It's not how it is. How can you prevent hitting a slice serve downwards into the net? Yeah, so you want to swing up. So a slice, you're not coming down to the left if you're right-handed. You want to go up to the right if you're right-handed. So keep your tossing arm up. You can cross your wrist, which is one of the first tips I talked about today. Feel like your tossing arm up is so long that you actually, cross your wrists. Who did I hit with my racket? Oh, that was the singles player. And swing up to the right if you're right-handed, swing up to the left if you're left-handed, and almost think of a little bit of topspin, like a slight bit of topspin to that slice. I am changing my serve technique so it's like what you teach. It goes pretty well during practice sessions alone, but when I play games, I double fault too much. Any advice? Well, the first thing, Dave, would be, honestly, I guess Dave from New Jersey, let's do a Zoom lesson on it. I can't make a real recommendation without seeing what it is. It might be your grip. It might be your coil. It might be your toss. It might be the way you lift your racket. It might be the birthday hat move. You might be switching your grip halfway through the serve. And every person I say that to, they go, no, that's not me. And then like a quarter of the time it is them. Maybe you're pulling your body down or opening up your body and bending as you hit. So go to 2MinuteTennis.net and sign up for a Zoom private lesson or get a premium membership or the monthly membership or the yearly membership. And it comes with a Zoom lesson or two, depending on which you choose. Go to 2MinuteTennis.net and let's do a Zoom lesson. You would send me videos of your serve, side view and back view. I'll put you side by side with me or JJ Wolf or Sakari or Federer or Felix Auger-Aliassime. I love his move right here where the racket face is closed. He's so supinated. And then the pronation. Absolutely love it. So that would be the best thing I could do for something really specific for your technique is what I would recommend. And the whole thing's recorded. It's an hour long. You get the recording. I share my screen. You get to see yourself side by side with the pros. I'll ask you to demonstrate. It's not on court. You're at home because we're using video footage. I ask you to demonstrate everything. It's super interactive, and it's the best tennis lesson you'll ever take. I'm driving, but any tips for keeping a volley? Nick, you're so funny. Be careful, Nick. If this is the Nick Marks, I know. He's in the UK. He's one of my students, by the way. Any tips on keeping a volley return low if you are reacting quickly to a ball where you have to raise your racket to the ball? Any tips for keeping a volley low if you are reacting quickly to a ball where you have to raise your racket up to the ball? Super. So now you're parked. I'm so glad. I'm so glad, Nick. Super specific question. The more specific the questions are, the more I love it. Hey guys, I'm going to be on here for another 5 minutes or so. So Nick, here's one thing that'll help is, first off, if the ball's going fast and it's high, don't hit it because that ball's definitely going out. Any high ball that's going fast, don't hit it. One thing you can do is have your elbows out. So coaches talk about having the elbows in on volleys. I'm the opposite. I'm doing the Vic Braden, get your elbows out. Because when players turn like this, their backswing is too far, but really they just have to put their elbow out and that fixes it. So when your elbows are out at the net and then you turn, you won't have too big a swing. When you're like this and you turn, that fixes it. Notice I drop my elbow, the racket goes back. Look at my hand. My hand's not moving. You know how many times people go like this on their volley and the coach says, oh, you took your racket too far back, but the hand's in the same place. Just take this elbow and push it out and that fixes the racket. So maybe what'll happen is on the high ball, if your elbows are out, you'll turn and your racket's going to be straight up and down. So you'll turn like this rather than like this with a low elbow from having the elbows down at the net rather than the elbows out at the net. Same thing on the backhand because you can use this back elbow to help keep the racket very vertical rather than a dropped elbow and the racket's open. So when you're at the net and let's say you're playing doubles and your partner's serving, be like this. Have distance between you and the racket. Have your elbows out. And that will help you keep the swing from getting too small. This idea that having the elbow in, and it's like keep the arm in front of you for a small swing. Really? Because that just lays the racket open. Elbow out, then the racket's vertical and you're going to hit flat. So elbows out, turn high. So the ball comes, you have to raise your racket and then just go to your left hand. And as long as the ball's not going super fast, which in that case you shouldn't hit the ball, you'll have no trouble just deflecting that ball down at their feet. It's when the elbow's in that the racket's open that the ball's going to go out. I've heard coaches say I keep the racket head pointing upwards when hitting a volley. What are your thoughts? Yeah, so what I teach is don't keep your racket head up. I teach keep your hand down. And this will be the last thing I'll mention. I will ask, there are 52 of you. Oh, look at that, 52 people, 52 likes. I had a serve lesson with Ryan. I agree, it was the best lesson I ever had. Would definitely recommend anyone else following the comment section. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. So, and that's the cool thing. So Nick's in the UK and I'm here, about 2 hours from New York City and he can take a lesson with me anytime. That's what's cool. You don't have to go places. It's all interactive online. If you volley like this, so let's take this ball here. Let's say you've been told that you volley like this and the ball is right here. if you're told to keep your racket head up, well, that means you would have missed the ball. If you would have kept your racket up, you would have missed the ball. So it seems like 6 in one and half a dozen in the other. Like, it doesn't matter what you say, but it does matter. Because if your volley is like this, it's because your hand, your hitting hand, is the same height as the ball. So the relationship between your hand and the ball is wrong. You've got to keep your hand down. So when you hit a volley, put your hand, what feels to be, lower than the ball when it will arrive. That forces your racket head to be up, and you don't want the racket straight up and down. That's not a strong wrist position. This is a weak wrist position. This is a weak wrist position. This is a strong wrist position. Think 45 degrees. That's what you want on the volley, around 45 degrees. So that's why the ready position is about 45. You don't want this in your ready position, nor do you want this in the ready position. 45 degrees in the ready position. I mean, why else is it called a ready position? Because that's how you want to volley. 45-degree racket position is the strongest position you're going to get in your wrist. So think of keeping your hand, your hitting hand, below contact rather than thinking racket head up. Because people who are told racket head up on their volleys, they never have their racket head up. It's like, oh, keep your racket up, keep your racket up. The problem is the ball was coming at shoulder height and the student put their hand at shoulder height. So the racket had to be like this. Weak wrist position, they take a big swing. You have to keep your hand down. So if you're a coach, stop saying racket head up. Start saying keep your hand down and explain that to them. If the ball comes here, your hand should be lower than the ball. So then feed them balls, right? You got your ball hopper, you're feeding them balls, and you're just feeding balls to them, and just tell them, put your hand lower than the ball and watch how their racket naturally is up. All right, guys, I got to go, but really quickly, I've just given you 51 minutes and 40 seconds. Please give me 50 seconds. I do Zoom private lessons, right? I have a business, 2MinuteTennis.net, where I teach people in group and private settings, technique, strategy, and footwork. I have one really incredible offer, which is my premium membership. And you can either go monthly or by the year with my premium membership. The yearly membership is $3.99 for the year. The monthly membership is $40 a month. Let's talk about the $3.99 membership. When you become, right today, a 2Minute Tennis yearly premium member, just go to 2MinuteTennis.net. When you get there, there'll be a big yellow button that says Get Started. Boom, you can get it and get the yearly membership. Just put your info in, your email, see what I have to offer in the back and where the programs are, and you're good. The moment you sign up for a premium membership, you get 2 free Zoom private lessons with me that you get to schedule at any time. And you get access to my schedule, and you can pick a time that's convenient for you. We'll work on your serve, your backhand, your forehand, do a side-by-side comparison of your technique versus the pros. I'll go over match footage with you. I'll show you your match footage, then take you to the strategy board and teach you how you can win matches that you're currently losing. You're also going to get a weekly class with me with all the other premium members. So like tonight, I have a class. And you can go to 2MinuteTennis.net and check out the free classes that I've put in the premium members area. Once you put in your email and you put in your name, just go into the back area and see the programs. You can see all the recordings that I have up there and check them out. And you can see what they're like. Absolutely incredible, incredible product. I'm so proud of the premium membership. But I do offer a la carte Zoom lessons. Zoom lessons are $130 an hour. It's the best tennis lesson you will ever take. You get a recording of the whole thing. I will teach you everything that you need to do. I'll ask you to demonstrate because I can see you because it's live on Zoom. So if you have any questions, definitely hit me up at ryan@2minutetennis.net. I really appreciate your support, and I appreciate you coming on here live with me and asking me some great questions. I don't want to end. I'm going to answer one more question. Thank you so much. Thanks for helping me out the game for 30 years. Let me see here. Head size 98, or I like 100. I'll answer one more question, and then I got to go. Let's go back up where I feel like what is the best way to playing against a moonballer? Oh, all right. So first off, where do people, we'll end with this. Where do moonballers stand, right? Where do moonballers stand? Moonballers stand way behind the baseline. So if you're playing this person and they're moonballing you, then you need to get them away from the back fence. And you do that by the moment they serve to you, you hit it short on purpose and you bring them up. Guess what? Now they're no longer a well, no, they are a moonballer. They're just a very uncomfortable moonballer because now they're in no man's land. They're going to hit, and now they're either going to come to the net where they're not comfortable because they're a moonballer. They like being back here. The reason they're a moonballer is because they don't like coming to the net and being an all-court player. Or they will start backing up quickly and you blast it at their feet or over here and they cannot change direction. You want to not move moonballers left and right. You want to move moonballers forward and back. Now, you can attack, but the problem is they are so good at lobbing, especially over your backhand side, that we end up shooting ourselves in the foot by moving in and then just, they force us into an error. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Go do it right now. Go to 2MinuteTennis.net and check out the premium membership. Check out the private lessons, the Zoom private lessons that I do. They're the best available. They're the best on the market. So I'm super excited. All right, guys, I'll talk to you real soon. See ya.